Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know, first and foremost, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. There was a little problem with the live stream, and I couldn't use the camera I usually use, so I had to use just the regular laptop camera. Let me know if this is okay. So in the live chat, let me know if you can hear me, and let me know if this is all right. But welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And let me see if I can go ahead and get this up and running. So much for tuning in. It's okay. Thank you, Tamara. Okay, it's fine. Okay, great. All right, thank you, Eric. How's the sound? Is the sound okay? Sounds looks good. Thank you. Love is a four-letter word. Thank you. All right, so let's get the show on the road. Yeah, it's something like bizarre. I'm like, wait, what's going on? The Hill today. This is the Hill today. And memos detail FBI hurry the F up pressure. Hurry the F up pressure to probe Trump campaign. What's the rush? The rush is $1.2 billion might be lost because Clinton is an atrocious candidate. So we have a situation where they were pressured. This is just breaking news. Memos detail FBI's hurry the F up. This is a profanity alert. FBI's hurry the F up pressure to probe Trump campaign. July 6th, 2018, John Solomon. Multiple reviews of whether FBI agents' political bias affected the Russia-Trump collusion case remain in their infancy. But investigators already have unearthed troubling internal communications long withheld from public view. Thank you. And we have 115 people 2 minutes in. The Hill is a reliable source. The Wall Street Journal is generally good, I'd say. We already know from FBI counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok's now infamous text message regarding his fellow agent and reported lover Lisa Page that Strzok, the man driving that Russia collusion investigation, disdained Donald Trump and expressed willingness to use his law enforcement powers to stop the Republican from becoming president. So we already know this is the Hill. So this is from the Hill. And if you didn't get notifications, please go ahead and share this. Wood chipper nationalism. Did you know that Jordan Peterson told John O'Brien to clean his room and wash his subpoenas? A subpoena. Multiple subpoenas. Wood chipper nationalism. Thank you. Thank you. Clean your room. Oh, that was Jordan Peterson. Told John O'Brien. Clean his room and wash his subpoena. Multiple subpoenas. Thank you, Wood Chipper Nationalism. Thank you for your support. Hello, everyone. We already know from the FBI counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok's now infamous text messages with his fellow agent and reported lover Lisa Page that Strzok, the man driving that Russia collusion investigation, disdained Donald Trump, and expressed willingness to use his law enforcement powers to stop the Republican from becoming president. The question that lingers unanswered: did those sentiments affect official actions? Obviously, and John Solomon is a brilliant journalist. He's one of the great journalists out there. Did Strzok's hatred, Tamara Friedman, Thank you, Tamara Friedman. Thank you. Thank you as always. Thank you, Tamara Friedman. Appreciate your support greatly and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, Tamara. Did Strzok's hatred affect his actions? So thank you, Tamara Friedman. Thank you. Woodchipper Nationalism. Thank you. This is a simple question. It's time for a haircut? I guess so. Did the hatred of these FBI agents affect their actions? Of course, the hatred affected their actions. Of course, the fact that they hated Trump affected their actions. So Tamara Friedman, thank you again. And we're going to find out that not only did it affect their actions, but they covered up the Clinton email probe and then hurried up to investigate a Trump-Russia investigation that was only meant to make everything morally relative. The Trump-Russia investigation was only meant to make everything morally relative. To say, well, oh, you know what? Trump's also being investigated, you know. Based on what? Well, you know, there are bad ties, and we have the Steele dossier, which we purchased, and a FISA warrant, which we purchased from the Steele dossier, and a Russian hacking myth that we purchased from CrowdStrike, all funneled through Clinton's law firm that is actually now trying to hurt Jim Jordan. So thank you again, Tamara Friedman. Memos the FBI is now producing to the Justice Department. Inspector General and multiple Senate and House committees offer what sources involved in the production, review, or investigation described to me as damning and troubling evidence. They show Strzok and his counterintelligence team rushing in the fall of 2016 to find derogatory information from informants or a pretext to accelerate the probe and get a surveillance warrant on figures tied to the future president. A pretext. A pretext. Dina Minyard. Thank you, Dina. Brennan is such a bully. He's probably he's probably compensating for his small subpoena. You know, a subpoena to subpoena documents. Probably. I'm John O'Brennan. And if anyone says I have a small subpoena, which is a document, that's demanding demanding a witness, I want to let them know they've never seen a bigger subpoena to compel witness testimony. My subpoena compels witness testimony, as you know. Thank you, Dina Minyard. I have the best chat. I have the best people. Dina Minyard, Tamara Friedman, Woodchipper Nationalism. Thank you. Thank you, Dina. Thank you. I have to get used to looking at the laptop. I have a little camera, but I have to use the laptop camera now because for some reason this stream would not allow me to use my actual camera. Whatever. I'm sure it'll. You've never seen a more perfectly written subpoena than my own. James Clapper's subpoena is like his giant forehead, big and shiny. Bob Bardis, Canada supports you too. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for watching. Thank you, everybody in Canada, for watching. Bob Bardis, thank you. Thank you so much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. So we find out now that there are new text messages because ladies and gentlemen, we've only seen about 50 to 60% about 60% of the text messages. So let's go ahead and continue. An FBI, at a minimum, the letter provides us a pretext to interview. The FBI team pounced on what it saw as an opportunity as soon as Page wrote a letter to then FBI Director James Comey complaining about the completely false leak. So the memos show, these new memos show the pretext. One of those figures was Carter Page, an academic and an energy consultant from New York. By the way, they spied on Carter Page. They found nothing, which is hilarious. Because when they spied on Carter Page and they found nothing, they're then put in a situation where, okay, well, we have to go ahead and justify the probe somehow. Spy on Carter Page, find nothing. Justified it from a Steele dossier, which was nothing, gossip. Then also justified the spying of Carter Page through a drunken conversation between Papadopoulos and Alexander Dumbo Downer. Nothing. So gossip and hearsay. Alexander Downer Papadopoulos, gossip and hearsay. Steele dossier, gossip and hearsay. Gossip and hearsay cannot do any. You cannot be convicted. You cannot be fired based on gossip or hearsay. If you get fired from your job, heaven forbid, because of gossip, you sue their behinds. That's what happens. You can't simply say, oh, well, you know, I heard something bad. So therefore, since we heard something bad, well, was there any evidence? Is there any evidence at all? There are cases where if your actions correlate with what is heard, fine. Hello, Canada. Thank you again, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Bob Bardis, thank you. One of those figures was Carter Page. The memos show Strzok, Lisa Page, and others in counterintelligence monitored new articles in September 2016 that quoted law enforcement sources as saying the FBI was investigating Carter Page's travel to Moscow. Why would they? This is the FBI. Why would they monitor news articles written? Self-fulfilling prophecy. They have journalists they're working with at Mother Jones. Journalists they're working with at Mother Jones. The FBI team pounced on what it saw as an opportunity as soon as Page wrote a letter to then FBI Director James Comey complaining about the completely false leak. At a minimum, the letter provides us a pretext to interview. Within weeks, that pretext, often a synonym for an excuse, had been upsized to a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court warrant, giving the FBI ability to use some of its most awesome powers to monitor Carter Page and his activities. So they expedited the spying of Carter Page because there were leaks or there was information published. Murph's Appliance Repair. Apply Occam's razor to both investigations. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's the simplest explanation? Well, the simplest explanation is that it was a cover-up. One, a cover-up, and then two, a fabrication. Murph's Appliance Repair. Andy Solomons. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Andy. So Murph's Appliance Repair, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Apply the simplest explanation. The simplest explanation. Why did Democrats fabricate Trump Russia? Because they lost $1.2 billion and they outspent Trump 2-1. Why are they going from calling people deplorable to Nazis? Because they're doubling down. Andy Solomons, thank you. What's the simplest explanation? Because they lack a value system. Because they have to condemn people and then beg for leniency and forgiveness when they're caught doing the same things that they show zero compassion for others when they're caught doing. So, for example, Joy Reid, every day, looks at the world and says, that is racist, that's not racist, that's good, this is not good. Republicans are bad, Democrats are good. Oh, but Miss Reid, you wrote anti-gay posts. Oh, well, that's Russian hackers. Please forgive me. I misspoke. Well, do you allow others to be forgiven? Are others forgiven, or do you expect compassion only for you? And it's not just Joy Reid, it's everyone. I can name 4 or 5 people right now. I won't go into it right now, but oh my God, look at those horrible people for what they're saying horrible things on Twitter, or they're writing horrible blog posts. 2 in particular, pretty popular on the left. Andy Solomons, thank you. Eric H526 is the man. This is for Eric H526, best man on your crew. Andy, thank you so much. Andy, very kind of you. Thank you, Andy. And Eric H526 is just awesome. Eric, thank you as well for all your work. Andy, thank you. Brian Schultz. Thank you, Brian Schultz. Thank you. Thank you, Brian Schultz. Greatly appreciated, Brian. Thank you. Thank you, Brian Schultz. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. And so the simplest explanation when it comes to this, within weeks, that pretext, often a synonym for an excuse, had been upsized to a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court warrant. So all of this, they show Strzok and his counterintelligence team rushing in the fall 2006 to find derogatory information from informants or a pretext to accelerate. So what did they do? So let me explain again. Thank you, Brian Schultz. They have a $35 billion budget, ladies and gentlemen. A $35 billion budget. The FBI has a $10 billion budget. The NSA has a $10 billion budget. The CIA has a $15 billion budget. $35 billion. And they're reduced to looking at clippings of articles. They're like, we got to find something. Where's this something? Oh, okay, let's look at articles where we've influenced certain journalists through leaks or through cultivating journalists or whatever. And then we'll base our initial investigation not on $35 billion worth of intelligence, but negative articles written, about Carter Page or about people within Trump's campaign. Because there were leaks and there were FBI agents that had golfing outings and got tickets and got dinners and were basically embedded, or you have journalists embedded with FBI agents. Robert Boombalo, thank you. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert Boombalo. Thank you. Thank you, Robert, so much. Thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you, Brian Schultz. Thank you. Thank you both for watching. Thank you, Robert. The memo shows Strzok, Lisa Page, and others in counterintelligence monitored news articles in September 2016 that quoted a law enforcement source as saying the FBI was investigating Carter Page's travel to Moscow. But they had already interviewed Carter Page on a separate case. He was essentially an informant on a separate case. Ladies and gentlemen, flying to Moscow is not grounds for an investigation unless you're living in McCarthy-era Democratic politics that needs some kind of controversy to counterbalance the ridiculous cover-up, the overt cover-up. At a minimum, the letter provides us a pretext to interview. The FBI team pounced on what it saw as an opportunity as soon as Page wrote a letter to then FBI Director James Comey, complaining about the completely false leak. So Carter Page writes to James Comey and says, what you see in the media is completely false. Then, instead of saying, oh, well, okay, then they start an investigation. Oh, why? Because this man is saying it's completely false. That's their mentality. It's not $35 billion worth of intelligence. It's not $35 billion worth of intelligence. Let's continue. To date, the former Trump advisor has been accused of no wrongdoing despite being subject to nearly a year of surveillance. Well, of course, it's not about wrongdoing. And they knew very well there was no, even one of Strzok's text messages says, well, there's probably no there there. They knew very well they weren't going to find anything because there was nothing to find. They don't even know if the DNC was hacked. They have no evidence. What people fall back on is say, well, the intelligence community concluded. Well, number one, they didn't conclude anything with facts or evidence. They're not certain about anything. Number two, the James Clapper has been very clear. Even to Chuck Todd, he's always been clear. We had found no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Number three, they justify their continued harassment of Trump and everyone around him by saying, well, there could be evidence and there could be a crime because we think something happened. That is not how you investigate. That is not how you that's not how you do things. Because with Clinton, there were many crimes, and they said, well, you know what? She didn't mean to do it. She didn't intentionally do it. Well, of course she intentionally did it. Of course. So they completely, and then at a minimum, so this is some internal memos detail the pressure being applied by the FBI to DOJ prosecutors to get a warrant on Carter Page buttoned up before Election Day. In one email exchange, the subject line, crossfire FISA, Strzok and Lisa Page discussed talking points to get then FBI Director Andrew McCabe to persuade a high-ranking DOJ official to sign off on the warrant. That's why when Rod Rosenstein says, I'm not the one doing the redacting, sir, and 3 FISA judges signed off, 3 FISA judges. Oh, 3 FISA judges. Don't you know 3 FISA judges? Oh, my God. And an FBI agent swore under oath. So sure, I went ahead and I continued, I signed off on the FISA warrant. Well, don't you know the 3 judges signed off? Yeah, because they were pressured. Because there was a conspiracy of individuals, basically documented by their own corrupt, grubby little hands. In one email exchange with the subject Crossfire FISA, Strzok and Lisa Page discussed talking points to get then FBI Director Andrew McCabe to persuade a high-ranking DOJ official to sign off on the warrant. Crossfire Hurricane was one of the code names of 4 separate investigations the FBI conducted related to Russia matters in the 2016 election. 4 separate investigations where they have to fabricate everything. With the Clinton email investigation, They did not even use a grand jury. They did not make witnesses flip and sing. If anything, they gave people immunity before even a grand jury was used. How do you give people immunity and not even use a grand jury? Because there's so much classified intelligence, and they were covering everything up. The IG report says they did not use a grand jury because the amount of classified intelligence, the special access program intelligence, the amount of, and this is the the unintentional, not a big deal server that was never hacked by anyone. Yet it was unencrypted, and there was so much information that people can't see, they couldn't even find a jury. And Strzok and Page and all of them know exactly how she, or they either know or they never asked how she transferred top secret or special access program intelligence from SIPRNet, JWIC, SCIFs, and other sources and other locations within the U.S. government. Atom Bomb 31458. Strzok and Page co-MVPs. Yes. Yes, they're co-MVPs. Yes. And we have Rosenstein's deadline today. We'll see what happens. Happy Rosenstein impeachment day. Deputy Dog. Atom Bomb 31458. Strzok and Page co-MVPs. Yes. I don't know who is the bigger MVP, Strzok or Page. Strzok's the one documenting his entire demise because of his love for Page. If you don't have Page there, Strzok's not saying, I'm going to stop Trump, honey, no problem. Oh, we got to do this real quick, no problem. We got to go ahead. Oh, my God, he should win. Hillary Clinton should win 500 million to 0, no problem. At a minimum, that keeps, quote, this is an email. So if they're not texting their own demise politically and bureaucratically, and the Office of Professional Responsibility, the Office of Professional Responsibility is on Strzok and Page and Comey and McCabe and all of them right now. That's what Christopher Wray said during testimony. The Office of Professional Responsibility is investigating people prominently named in the Inspector General report. Who has been more prominently named? And so Atom Bomb 31458, you're 100% right. Who has been more prominently named? Thank you, Hope on Wisdom. Thank you. Who has been more prominently named than Comey, than Strzok and Page? Stroke and Wiener, same cell. Who has been more prominently named than McCabe, than Comey, than Strzok, than Page, than all these people? And Christopher Wray is going to slowly just turn the vice using bureaucracy. So is Sessions. At a minimum, and this is quote, at a minimum, that keeps the hurry the F up pressure on him. Strzok emailed Page on October 14, 2016, less than 4 weeks before Election Day. Hurry the F up pressure on judges. Hurry the F up pressure on Trump. Hurry the F up pressure, but not hurry the F up pressure for Clinton emails, because that was just thrown under the, just sweep it under the rug. We don't care how she transferred top secret intelligence. We don't care at all. Any idea what time he can have it Woods Ed by? I know it's not going to matter because DOJ is going to take the time DOJ wants to take. I just don't want this waiting on us at all. What's the rush? Do you have evidence? What's the rush? What is the rush? What are you working for? Some kind of insurance policy to stop Trump? Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Did I go there? I'm sorry. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. This is the real-time conspiracy documented. And, you know, they don't even, people on the left are like, oh my God, you know, don't let them eat. Oh, that's another thing. So that guy got arrested, the guy who just stole the MAGA hat, you know, and Democrats still have not defended Maxine Waters. Of course, what she said was ridiculous and absurd. Don't let them eat. Don't let them go shopping. As if that's going to, you know, hurt Trump's cabinet. But where's Kristen Gillibrand? Where's Debbie Wasserman? Where's Hillary defending Maxine Waters? They're not. That's because the Democratic Party is completely full of racists. They let Congresswoman Waters take all the heat for everything, and she evoked a Nancy Pelosi line. She evoked a Democratic Party principle. Blue Seas. Thank you, Blue Seas. Thank you. Thank you for watching in New Zealand. Thank you, Blue Seas. HA, great commentary as usual. Thank you. Thank you, Blue Seas. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you, Blue Seas, again. But let's continue. Until all the interviews are completed by Congress and DOJ's Inspector General later this year, we won't know why counterintelligence agents who normally take a methodical approach to investigation felt so much pressure days before the election on this case. Were they concerned about losing a chance to gather evidence at a critical moment? Or maybe, as some Republicans have suspected, they wanted to impact the election? Well, of course they wanted to impact the election. There was no evidence of anything. They don't know. The DNC hid its servers. Hillary Clinton bleached her servers or wiped her servers clean with a cloth. Everyone has outside servers. That's why we know that Clinton will eventually get indicted on charges or charged with a crime. And we know that all of these people, their political and legal demise will take place because of bureaucracy. They live by bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is going to do them in politically. If you utilize bureaucracy to hurt others, bureaucracy will be utilized upon you, like it's being utilized right now by Sessions against Strzok, Page, Comey, McCabe, and all of them. The agents got the Carter Page warrant in October. Within 2 weeks, Democrats in Congress, such as then Harry Reid, and some media members were raising questions about the FBI withholding word of a probe that could hurt Trump. They withheld word of a probe because there was no evidence of anything. There was no evidence. The probe was meant to simply serve as a morally relative. Oh, well, look over there. Same thing. Blue Seas, thank you again. The day after Trump's win on November 9, 2016, the FBI counterintelligence team engaged in a new mission, bluntly described in another string of emails prompted by another news leak. So they're using articles written by journalists and publications that hate Trump to justify an investigation of Trump. Again, this is really important, probably the most important thing I've said in 30 minutes. They are utilizing an investigation. They're utilizing what's written against Trump to investigate Trump. They're utilizing anti-Trump articles to justify an anti-Trump investigation. This with a $10 billion FBI budget. Only in America. We need all their names to scrub, and we should give them ours for the same purpose, Strzok emailed Page on November 10, 2016, citing a Daily Beast article about some of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort's allegedly unsavory ties overseas. Do you know how many articles I wrote? Do you know how many articles Paul Sperry wrote? Do you know how much work, the biggest hero when this all goes down will be Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch and perhaps some other people. And then there are patriots that in the NYPD and FBI, field off New York FBI that we owe a great deal to, who saved this country when they found hundreds of thousands, including classified United States classified intelligence. Do you know how many articles that I wrote, or Paul Sperry, or others that could have been utilized by Strzok? I wrote articles asking or saying, here's what you should ask. Could you imagine if it was utilized by Strzok? Madam Secretary, how did you transfer top secret intelligence? Oh, I don't know. Well, we've interviewed Brian Pagliano, and he said you took cell phone pics. Well, I don't know. I don't know I don't know if we took cell phone pics. I have no idea. Okay, well, I interviewed Justin Cooper, and he said you told people to take cell phone pics or to use thumb drives. I don't know. I never said anything to anyone. Well, why did you own the server? Well, for convenience. Why couldn't you own a government server? Well, that was inconvenient. Well, why would it be inconvenient? Why did you delete 30,000 emails? Did you delete emails that pertain to the Clinton Foundation? Yes or no? Because she would have to answer that. She would have to answer that. Why were there classified intelligence? Why was there classified intelligence found on Anthony Weiner's laptop? Did not receive YouTube notification. Those dirty rats. Paul Johnson. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. And I appreciate that for people for letting me know. Thank you. Thank you, Paul Johnson. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. And go ahead and text this out, tweet this out, or share this on Instagram or Facebook or Minds or Gab. This link up here. We still have 544 people watching, and nobody got notifications. That's not bad at all. Andy didn't get any others, Page wrote back, apparently indicating McCabe didn't have names to add to the scrub. So they used the Daily Beast article. Daily Beast wrote a hit piece on me. Daily Beast just exists to further the Democratic Party. They're a Democratic Party newsletter along with the Washington Post. Every once in a while, Daily Beast has a really good article, actually. Every once in a while. Every once in a while when it's objective, which is every once in a blue moon. That's what Bill said, Strzok wrote back, apparently referred to then FBI Chief Counterintelligence William Priestap. I suggested we need to exchange our entire list, that we each have potential derogatory CI info. The other doesn't. CI is short for confidential informants. In an extraordinary exchange, if for no other reason than this, the very day after Trump wins the presidency, some top FBI officials are involved in the sort of gumshoeing normally reserved for field agents, and their goal is to find derogatory information about someone who had worked for the president-elect. They were the Democratic Party at that point. The FBI became the Democratic Party. The FBI was not involved in protecting the country. The FBI was not involved in protecting the country. So that's a great question. Why doesn't Trump declassify everything? He has the power. It's true, but the thing is, he still, technically has to, he can't just, he has to go ahead and he can declassify everything, but he might want to string this out up until November. Also, he then runs the risk of either angering or undermining his picks. I mean, he's probably already seen everything. He knows it's going to come out. And I agree with you. He should just declassify everything, let everyone see everything right now. But there's probably a method to the madness. We're finding this out slowly to a crescendo until November. But I do agree. He should declassify everything right now. He probably just doesn't want to undermine the people he chose, whether it's General Nakasone or Gina Haspel or Christopher Wray. And then he'll have to take the heat for anything that takes place. Well, so if he declassifies something, then of course there are going to be articles written, Trump declassified this, and then, then this happened and that happened. And it's all his fault. But I agree with you. As the president-elect geared up to take over, the FBI made another move that has captured investigators' attention. It named an executive with expertise in the FBI's most sensitive surveillance equipment to be a liaison to the Trump's transition team. Clear evidence also exists that an investigation into still unproven collusion, which relates directly to the title of this segment, still unproven collusion. The whole point is that what they did was simply fabricate everything and then say, well, there are news articles written, we have to investigate. But of course there are news articles written. Of course there are news articles written. There are news articles written because the Daily Beast hates Trump. That's like the FBI going to Fox and saying, oh, there's a Fox News article. Oh, there's a Daily Caller article. Oh, there's a, another conservative publication article on Clinton and Haiti and weapons deals and her private server and intelligence on Anthony Weiner's laptop and the special access program intelligence she stored on her computer. Oh, there's a Denver Post article about Platte River. Why didn't they use this article? Why didn't they use this article? So Denver Post, Platte River. Oh. U.S. House Committee Chairman asks Justice Department to prosecute Platte River CEO, Platte River Network CEO. Texas Congressman says Tresavo failed to produce documents, made false statements in Hillary Clinton's server inquiry. So everyone is going ahead, making false statements, lying. Oh, by the way, in the IG report, there were witnesses who lied. They never were charged with perjury. There were witnesses who lied about removing classified intelligence. The whole thing is an absolute mess, ladies and gentlemen. Do not think for 1 second this isn't an enormous scandal just because MSNBC isn't talking about it or CNN. And Ed Schultz passed away. God bless him, and may he rest in peace. Amazing, really great guy. Some people like, oh, but everyone, there's always people who, hate others. He was a great guy. He was a great man, great journalist. He was an honest man, a man of integrity. Ed Schultz was a man of integrity. And he was an intelligent, logical individual, very logical, very intelligent. And he was a journalist that had Democrats cultivated more journalists and supported more journalists like Ed Schultz, Democrats would be in a much better position. Instead, they only gravitate towards cult-like sycophants. And then they wonder why they lose. They will get completely obliterated in Congress. I'm on RT saying they're not going to win the House. This is weeks, 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. I was on RT long before the walkaway movement. I said they're going to lose both the House and Senate. They will. Yet now irrefutable proof exists the agents sought to create pressure to get derogatory information and a pretext to interview people close to a future president they didn't like. At a certain point, the Democrats are going to have to say, yeah, they hated Trump and they conspired against Trump. They hated Trump, they conspired against Trump. They hated Trump and they conspired against Trump. Not difficult. Clinton blames everything on the planet for her loss. Could you imagine if they said, oh yeah, FBI agents said we have to stop Clinton. Clinton is a menace. Clinton supporters are smelly. Clinton should lose 100 million to zero. We'll stop Clinton. There's an insurance policy regarding Clinton. I spoke about Andrew McCabe's office. We can't take the risk of Clinton becoming president. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Clear evidence also exists that an investigation into still unproven collusion between a foreign power and a U.S. presidential candidate was driven less by secret information from Moscow and more by politically tainted media leaks. Absolutely. And you cannot cite the media when you've leaked information to the media. You're citing yourself. That's pretty stupid. But then again, Strzok isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. None of them are. They think they're so slick. They think that they're so cunning, but they're not. And that means the dots between expression of political bias and official actions just got a little bit more connected. John Solomon is an award-winning investigative journalist whose work over the years has exposed U.S. and FBI intelligence failures before the September 11th attacks, federal scientists' misuse of foster children and veterans in drug experiments. Wow. Wow. And numerous cases of political corruption. He is the Hill's vice president for video. John Solomon is an amazing journalist. I used to be a contributor at The Hill. Then today, or just yesterday, will the FBI come clean? Lawmakers demand the truth and the origin of the 2016 Trump investigation. It was an obvious fabricated cover-up. I was saying that in January of 2017. Actually, I was saying that in 2016. And I wrote on Twitter, Democrats are done. Walkaways is viral and only getting stronger. Endless ads showing an angry, disgruntled 30-year-old liberal pouring soda and stealing MAGA hats. A MAGA hat will play on continual loop. Dems refused to defend Maxine Waters after she echoed party platform. DNC finished. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty much this is pretty much a situation where everybody's being exposed all at once. And aside from this channel, perhaps other channels, nobody's talking about it. But thank goodness we are. It's all out in the open. I just read you a Hill article from the other hour. And this is Kimberly Strassel and Fox News, but it's talking, oh yeah, will the FBI come clean this week? We may soon find out if Bureau has been lying. So this coming week's going to be interesting. The trench war between congressional Republicans and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We have arrived at a crucial battle. A House resolution sets Friday as the deadline for the Justice Department to come clean on the beginning of its investigation into the Trump campaign. So Rosenstein has today as a deadline. At issue is the FBI's origin story. It's the most ridiculous, stupid, absurd notion or story. They couldn't even. It's like they had writer's block and like, oh my god, I can't. What do we do now? Let's just look at news reports from the Daily Beast, and we'll utilize that. So let's see. Hold on one second. They're like, you just utilize news reports. That should work. But the news reports are based on leaks from the FBI. You're basically citing yourself. Thank you, Ubin. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words. And 574 people. That's without notification. I really have the best, most intelligent, most wonderful chat, live chat and super chat. To the super chat people, thank you. You give every incentive to continue these live chats. Nosigel J, H8 defies logic that nothing has been done yet. Is this really such a delicate operation? Aren't the crimes obvious as hell? Absolutely. Absolutely, Nosigel J, absolutely. But this is what's taken place. And this is what's taken place, Nosigel J. Everyone knows what's happening. So Nosigel J, thank you again. Everyone knows what's happening, from Sessions to Debbie Wasserman Schultz to me to you to the Hillary bots on Twitter. They know that Rachel Maddow knows that Trump didn't work with Russia. Maybe Bill Maher actually does think that. But all the people in like media who really know what's going on, they know that Trump didn't work with Russia. They know the DNC was never hacked. They know. They're leaning towards intelligence assessments based on no evidence and moderate confidence because they need to hold on to something. They need to hold on to something because if they realize that they're just horrible and that people hate them, then they don't have a political party. Ogre, thank you. Thank you, Ogre. Love you, HA. Keep up the good fight. Absolutely. Ogre, thank you. Absolutely. And you check me out, RT segment. That RT segment is the most thorough segment on that in all of YouTube. In all of YouTube. I think, Bobby Sprinkle, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Thank you. But Nosigel J, what's taken place is this. They know that all of this is a sham. But because the FBI has tens of thousands of employees, you're talking about a $35 billion apparatus between the CIA, FBI, and NSA. Things move extremely slowly. Then you have Sessions at DOJ, who needs to build a bureaucratic base for his eventual indictments. Andrew McCabe is up the creek without a paddle. That's why he'll get indicted. Andrew McCabe is done in terms of legally. Horowitz, who is notorious for being like middle of the road, he's like, yeah, we're criminal referral for this guy. Horowitz, the IG, who was nauseatingly middle of the road. Well, we didn't see any bias. What? Of prosecutors and their decisions. Well, Strzok never gave them the evidence. Nobody was under oath. Nobody was questioned, really. They were only focusing on Trump. They hated Trump. They wanted to stop Trump. They said they wanted to stop Trump. They said they want to stop Trump. But this is to Nosigal's question. You cannot have a situation, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot have a situation where a $35 billion monstrosity between the NSA, CIA, and FBI is quickly dismantled. You can't have a conspiracy quickly dismantled. It's taken this long to get this far, and Sessions has to get the Department of Professional Responsibility, the Bureau of Professional Responsibilities within the FBI. They got Andrew McCabe fired before his pension because he lied under oath twice and lied a total of 4 times. They documented all the bureaucratic issues that he's had. That documentation, that bureaucratic record. So when McCabe hid behind his desk, other people who hide behind their desks are now exposing McCabe. They're going to do the same thing to Comey. They're going to do the same thing to Strzok and Page and all of them. And they're done politically. Their legal issues are just beginning. And Mueller is just, Mueller has been given license to just vent Democratic Party anger. That's really all he's done. His authority comes from the $35 billion. Well, $35 billion says we're pretty sure Russia did this, so Mueller, go ahead and have a field day. Enjoy yourself. Wreak as much havoc as you can, because $35 billion worth gives you that justification. But at the end of the day, what takes place is the dismantling. It's being dismantled right now. It's slowly being, thank you, Gwen. Thank you, everyone. It's slowly being dismantled. That's why it's so important. We have almost 600 people right now, and people didn't even get the notification. It's slowly being dismantled. And beef supreme is yes and no. Real justice doesn't exist. Well, yes and no. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's justice, sometimes there isn't. But Ogre, HA, one more thing. What if Mueller tries to push Trump out? What can we do? Mueller will not. Ogre, thank you so much, Ogre. Mueller will not. Mueller has no authority to do so. If anything, Mueller should remember that he can be fired any second. And Mueller has no evidence of anything. Trump will never interview with Mueller. Mueller is done politically and in terms of influence. Now the only thing you do is try to find some ancillary thing to get Trump. So Mueller, don't worry about Mueller anymore. Trump should fire Mueller. There's always the possibility of some, of Mueller finding something ridiculous like Stormy Daniels, but I wouldn't worry about Mueller. Sandra Lee, thank you, Sandra Lee. Pelosi Schumer not defending Maxine Waters only proves that this has gone way out of control even for them. Love you, HA. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Sandra Lee, for always watching and supporting this channel. Thank you, Sandra. It's true. Well, that's the racism. They're so racist, it's unbelievable. Democratic Party is, and the thing is, Maxine Waters, she evoked Pelosi. That's Pelosi's line. Although Pelosi talks like Katharine Hepburn. I don't want to. Pelosi is like a Katharine Hepburn. But see, Maxine Waters stated exactly what the Democratic Party believes. So why doesn't Kristen Gillibrand say anything? Why doesn't Kamala Harris? Why doesn't Kamala Harris defend Maxine Waters? That's an interesting one too. Have you ever wondered why Kamala Harris is a black woman? Why isn't she defending Maxine Waters? Why aren't the white women who constantly talk about racism and why aren't they defending Maxine Waters? Why give Maxine Waters tell her, okay, you know what? Go ahead, evoke Democratic Party platform. It is a platform. It is now a platform of the Democratic Party to say, no, don't let Burger King, you stop, everybody, big gulp, all over you. Because there's racism there. I hate to say it, but they felt that, well, it's okay if Maxine Waters takes the heat, and we'll actually, if you're Schumer and Pelosi, we'll actually say, no, well, we don't agree with her, even though they do agree with her. And that's why 200 black women wrote a letter to Democrats saying this is ridiculous, and they were 100% right. The biggest racists. And then with Trump, they're like, well, he said this. Like, no, you twisted everything. He did not say that, and you twisted and you took things completely out of context. You cannot. The problem, and I'll get this. To. We'll wrap this up soon, but this is really important. And this is for my Bernie people who still watch me. For people who still watch me and who started with me a long time ago. This is really important. And also to the Trump people who've been, supporting Trump from day one. Here's a news flash. When you go ahead and you have an organic movement based on enthusiasm, based on passion, based on passion, enthusiasm, a vision for the future, a person that you want to rally around because that person is going to change the system, is different from the average politician, whether you want to bring home soldiers from wars. Oh, that's really interesting. Michael Cohen hires Lanny Davis. That's hilarious. That's really hilarious. I'll get to that in another segment. Because he knows he doesn't, Lanny Davis is hooked up with the Democratic Party. Michael Cohen knows the Democratic Party wants to flip and sing on him, or wants him to flip and sing. So he's making overtures now because he knows there's nothing to flip and sing about. But he's making overtures. He's saying, hey, look, I'll play ball. Just relax. Just relax. And Lanny Davis is, he knows everybody there. Anyway, when you have a true political movement, thank you, Biardo, thank you. When you have a true political movement, you don't need to throw Coca-Cola on people. When you have a true political movement, you don't need to harass people at the gas station. When you have a true political movement, you don't need to bully people online or in a burger joint or anywhere else, because your movement is rooted in values and a vision of the future. Democrats have no value system. They go from calling people deplorable to Nazis. They have doubled down on every failed tactic. They've lost not only the election, but they will lose the midterms, they will lose the next election, and they are done as a political party. They don't have a set value system where they can say, oh, well, we did this under Obama. No, they deported 2.5 million people. Oh, well, we hate Scott Pruitt. Well, what, you didn't hate the equivalent of 5 Keystone XL pipelines built from 2010 to 2015, fracking boomed, all of these things under Obama. This is the wonderful liberal president. Fracking boomed. The intelligence community and spying grew apparatus. The immigration apparatus, the deportation apparatus grew. We're more entrenched. We've destroyed Libya. We're more entrenched around the world in Yemen. This is the wonderful liberal. So look at Obama's record. They don't have anything to really stand on. They can't say, well, look at Obama's record. We're completely. If Bernie runs in 2020, I'm still voting for Trump because I don't trust Bernie anymore. I love him as a human being. I don't trust him. And the only reason I don't trust, one of the biggest reasons I don't trust him is because there was $200 million taken from his voters that he should have at least spoken about. But Justin, that's a great question. And if he runs independently, he's not going to win. You know, the independent vote that I was, you know, I voted for Jill Stein, not because I thought Jill Stein was going to win. I wanted her to, you know, that's a protest vote. Lum, Democrats' values are completely subjective. Exactly. Lum, thank you. But Justin, you know, that's a great question. And I don't support Bernie anymore because I think he's a great human being, but I don't trust him. If he could be co-opted in 2 seconds by saying, hey, we cheated you. We took that bird that flew down, we picked that off with you know, a 308 or any sniper, you know, with that you know, Debbie Wasserman Schultz picked off that little bird. And that goes back to what my point. My point is political movements like Bernie Sanders in 2016 ran on emotion, passion of a vision for the future, not hatred. You cannot have a political movement saying, well, we're going to resist and we're going to hate the opposition. That's not a political movement. That's a cult. A cult says, oh, you know, everyone else is bad. We're the only good ones. A movement says, hey, come on in. You might be different from us, but come on in. We'll accept you. Just let's build this thing. Let's build a vision for the future. Trump has that vision. You can disagree with Trump's tariffs. You can disagree with Trump's style, but he has a vision. He has a vision. He has an immigration vision. You can disagree with it, but he's willing to play ball and say, hey, you know what? We'll make dreamers citizens. Democrats don't want to play ball. They're like, no, you're not going to get your wall. Trump is peace between North and South Korea. No president was even close. And you had an historic, groundbreaking handshake between Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in. CHAS 1422. How do we get the truth to be exposed for National Archives when we have a tale of two narratives? In the end, must be a national trial to expose it. Well, CHAS 1422, CHAS 1422, you know what? The interesting thing, though, is that Strzok texts are part of the archive. The IG report is part of the archive. The Bureau of Professional Responsibility, what they say, is part of the archive. Well, because he is a good human being. Bernie Sanders, I don't trust Bernie Sanders, but I think he's a noble human being. I don't trust him. I don't know what his motivation was to just kiss Hillary's ring. Maybe he just tapped out. He needed to tap out. He didn't have enough energy. That machine was too insidious. Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he felt that his movement would be destroyed by taking on the system even more. I don't know what his thought process was, so I can't condemn him. I don't condemn him morally for. I don't condemn him morally for kissing Hillary's ring. I just don't trust him. I don't trust Bernie anymore. Also, what is this stuff, promoting the same Russian hacking nonsense that they used against him? So I think Bernie is a great human being. I think that he's done a lot for the country. He opposed the Iraq War, and he's been a voice. He has a conscience in terms of big issues. You can disagree with him. That's fine. But I just don't trust that, $200 million taken, and he's never even spoken about the DNC fraud lawsuit that Jared Beck and Elizabeth Beck and Nico House waged. I mean, at a certain point, if you're Bernie Sanders, simply say, hey, look, where did that money go? Hey, look, you cheated my voters. And you don't go ahead and you don't spend all this time hating on Trump. Yeah, I get it. Like, yes, Trump is the antithesis of, okay, a lot of things fine, but you don't go ahead and, kind of try to cozy up to the Democratic Party saying, yeah, the Russians interfered. The whole narrative is actually the Russians interfered to get people to vote for Bernie. He's actually stating that his campaign was part of a Russian, that his people who wanted him to win succumbed to a Buff Bernie coloring book, which was a Russian propaganda. He's lending credibility to the Russian hacking nonsense myth. And that's so I can go on forever. But anyway, his movement was a movement of value system. That's how you get enthusiasm. Trump's movement is a movement of value system. You don't want regime change, and you know what? If need be, you engage in tariffs if other people aren't playing fair. That's certainly you can disagree with it. And people are like, oh, you should hate Bernie more. No, I don't hate Bernie Sanders. I don't trust him. It's a difference. It's a difference. I don't know what his mindset was. That's what I still say I don't trust him, and I would vote for Trump in 2020. But the only two reasons why I wouldn't. One, if God forbid Julian Assange was extradited to the U.S., then I just wouldn't vote for anyone. Or if he got us into a big war. Definitely stick a fork in the DNC. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up right now. Thank you so much. We're going to find out more revelations today. Today's going to be an interesting day. And in terms of Agent 99, what do you think of him taking money from military weapons manufacturers? According to OpenSecrets.org, only a few thousand less than Trump. Well, I have to check that out. I think that's horrible. So I actually didn't. Agent 99, I don't think that's good. But at the same time, he did. His actions are not. If he took. This is one of the rare occasions where if he did take money, at least he's overtly anti-war. He ran a campaign saying we want to, end quagmires, but that's not good. So Agent 99, that would not be good at all. That would not be good. And I have to check the numbers, but that would not be good. Thank you so much. Thank you for a great show, everyone. Hit subscribe right now. The FBI is slowly being outed by its own words. We learned today that they wanted to expedite and rush without any evidence an investigation into Trump. I wonder why, because Peter Strzok wanted to stop Trump. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you so much to the live chat. Thank you to the super chat. Thank you so much. Super chat, you fuel this live stream. You give every incentive for these live streams to continue. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon.